Concerning now Magnesia Carbonica. Magnesia Carbonica, I have not much discovered on the mental emotional side of Magnesia Carbonica. I will give you my impressions. Magnesia Carbonica cases, first of all, will look quite sick, quite broken down, and if you can imagine the pre-state of tuberculosis, how a person who is maybe going into tuberculosis is, with a broken down constitution, with a general weakness, with a face which is quite earthy. And of course, in Magnesia Carbonica, we have the liver again affected, and also we see quite a lot of neuralgias, especially on the left side, especially facial neuralgias, which we call trigeminal neuralgias on the left side, which are aggravated very much by any kind of draft. This is a peculiarity, and ameliorated by warm. The people that will need Magnesia Carbonica usually are, like Magnesia muriatica, peaceful people, quiet people. They are not making a lot of noise. It seems that in the magnesias, because the liver is affected, I don't know why, there is the element of aggression is quite minimized, and the element of wanting peace, wanting quietude, and being quiet as people is very prominent. You will see these people are quite placid. They are not aggressive. As I'm talking about remedies, I mean, what I want to give you, it's main impressions that you will have when you see your patient, and as you discuss with your patient. I mean, you will have to discuss with your patient, and you have to find out how he behaves, how he reacts. Sometimes you have to play, I mean, to stimulate your patients, or to aggravate them, to see how they react, the children also. You have to be like an artist, because you are going to this, you are discovering, you are on a journey of discovery. When you see a case, unless you get the inside of the case, what you see the periphery, this is not going. You sit there, especially in these countries, where in the northern countries, the people are very reserved and sit there and will say, I have headaches. Yes? What else? Nothing else. It's a very nice case. I mean, then you will say, this is a peaceful remedy. But you put certain questions and you see the passion inside. I mean, the nature, which is quite different eventually through inquiring into such case. And you have, at least I have to be very observant, very careful, and very probing to understand people of the north. Because people of the south are more extrovert, and they will give you much more easy their symptomatology. And their symptomatology also is not so much depressed, repressed, suppressed, as it is now. What you do in your character here is to discipline, which is very nice. For us to be here, there's discipline, order, etc., etc. It's very nice to see that. But it has its price, because by suppressing your instinctive reactions, you suppress also your defenses, your automatic defenses. So when you give a case, it's just when your body reacts and produces symptoms, the symptoms are under a discipline, and the way that you will present the symptom will be different, will be disciplined, a disciplined presentation, usually. Unless a mental case, of course, then there is no control. Then you will see full-blown, the remedy in full-blown speed. It's very interesting. I will give you a few points of a remedy by an example which as you know, I came from Norway, where I had a seminar there with for a week, and one of the students brought a case, presented a case. And this was a man with a psoriasis on the whole body, but also mentally very disturbed. So he had all kinds of fears and all kinds of mental symptomatology. He has been given about 30 remedies. So far, he was very kinetic. He was given also zinc, very hyperactive. But it was interesting that at a certain point, I said to him, how you will react in a case of anger, you know. He says, you want me to show you? He says, in the meantime, he was trembling like that, eh? He was going like that. I said, let me see your pulse. You know, inside it was going like that. Not so much, but you could feel all the tissues are in a tumult. I know that state. I know in a remedy that state. So I see the pulse, supposed to see the pulse, you know. And then he says, you want me to show you, eh? Well, sometimes when, you know the broom, she says, we have the broom. You know the broom. He says, I take the broom, and I put it down and break it. And I take something else, you know, that's, and you will see in his reactions, you will see the increase of energy during the angry state, during the crisis. Tremendous. And then at a certain moment, he says, you want me to show you again? I said, yes. So he stops for a while, gathers all this energy he was going to show, and he hits the table with such force that I thought the table would just go into pieces. I mean, it's an increase of energy that you are. Oh my God. What next? The whole class was like that. So what's going to happen now was this release of energy. Bam, bangs there. And then she says, and then he builds up himself, and etc. I said, what about music? Do you like music? He said, music, yeah, I like music. I'll tell you what I do. I put this rock and roll music, and I have 2 huge loudspeakers in my room, and I put full speed, he says. And this is not enough because I want to feel the music inside. So what I do, I put my ear into the loudspeaker so I can feel the music. I mean, that kind. And he says the vibrations in the room are so great that the doors are opening and closing. I said, by doors, you mean the doors? The doors? He said, not the wardrobe doors. You know, the cardboard, the wardrobe. The doors on the wardrobe. From the vibrations, they were opening and closing. So if you go to the repertory, for instance, now, and you look insanity, nobody from the students, now, the whole thing, I made this man perform and bring out the tarantula state. But the students, still, they could not put together all these things, you know, the amelioration of your music. He says, I want to feel the music inside me. To really get the pleasure of music. And then, if you see in your repertory, those who you have repertory, open in chapter Insanity, increase of energy during insanity. Strength increased. What page? 57. Page 57. Well, the students, they will not, I will say, did you see that? What is, this is a tremendous increase of energy. Nobody can find it in the repertory. Because in the repertory is mentioned in a mentally disordered people, in the chapter Insanity, we see that increase of energy, which tarantula is the #1 remedy. We see this tremendous increase, this during the crisis, bam, they break, they want to break, they want to tear things, and mostly what they want to tear their own clothes during the crisis. So in this case, a particular case, very interesting. I didn't inquire anything about his sexual life, of course. Tarantula has tremendous sexual urge, and and all this. But it was not necessary for me. I knew this was tarantula case. But a lady from the group says, "What? You didn't inquire about his sexual life?" So immediately he jumped on the occasion. He says, "You want to know about my sexual life?" Well, I tell you. And he started telling about his sexual life, etc. And the same lady later on said, oh yes, he did not want to show his eruption, his psoriasis. I did not ask him to show the eruption, but as he was building up in energy, and the same lady said, I said, he asked me, or not the lady, the patient, he asked me, "Do you want to see my eruption?" I said, "No, it's not necessary." The same lady said, "Oh, let's see it." So immediately he says, "Do you want to see my body?" And he was ready. You could see the energy was so much that he was ready to, had enough time to unbutton. He was crushed. The whole thing, the whole performance was a tarantula case. Now, when you see that, nobody, 5 or 6 homeopaths have taken his case, and nobody have seen tarantula. Way, going psoriasis, going this, hyperkinetic, and this and that, and this, but the essence is that. And he had beautiful tarantula symptoms, because I put the symptoms on the board and I said, okay, repertorize only tarantula by the other symptoms he had. And then try to see his strength increased. When I pointed out, they found it, yes. And then amelioration from music. It's so great. How he said it. What else do you want? If I like music, yes. And he described how he likes music, how much he likes music. And tarantula likes exactly that. Strong music, very strong music. Very strong music ameliorates, and it is a very known fact that tarantula is a spider that lives in South America. Now, if somebody is bitten by tarantula, in olden times, what they used to do in order to cure this, men would fall down into spasms. So immediately they will run and bring the band of the village with the drums. The drums, and the band was playing while the man was convulsive in the ground. And by playing strong music next to him, the man will calm down and eventually recover. So that is the amelioration. It's very strong amelioration from music in tarantula. You have to remember that. Now, this person is tarantula. You go and says his liver is, never mind his liver, whether it's his liver, it's Magnesia Carbonica. Now, he cannot be Magnesia Carbonica. Why? Because Magnesia Carbonica, they don't have the energy to do these things. They are so tired. And there is an inquietude inside, and a sense all the time something wrong is going to happen, and an anxiety, and an inquietude, and then a tiredness, and something wrong is going to happen. And that feeling goes away when they go to bed. Opposite to Magnesia muriatica. When they go to bed, the Magnesia Carbonicas, they are ameliorated from their anxiety, and especially from that inquietude, that fear something's going to happen. In the night, they become quite calm. And also, what we see in Magnesia Carbonica, again, that suffering that has gone on for years. And again, the same idea of sour temperament, sour. You know, these people that are suffering and sour. And then we see that sour idea. We see it in perspiration. We see it in vomiting. We see it in smelling the whole body sour. Smelling all discharges smell sour. Sour smelling becomes a keynote for Magnesia Carbonica. And they are quite depressed and indisposed to talk. They don't want to talk. They don't want to interfere very much. And therefore, again, we have this pacifistic attitude of Magnesia, which they don't want to have noise, quarrels, and things like that. So you get another person altogether, another personality. You see, where you see zinc, where you see tarantula, where you see what's called Magnesia, a few other remedies that we may be discussing. Again, we may have anxiety with trembling, but the trembling is fine and it is quiet trembling. It is not an aggressive trembling. It's trembling from weakness, and trembling is like gelsemium trembling. And especially this anxiety comes, if you get this, it's a keynote, the anxiety, the trembling, the weakness comes with warm food. If they eat very warm food, the anxiety comes. This is a keynote. Sometimes also they get very tired and sleepy the whole day. Tired and sleepy. And they go to bed and they cannot sleep. They become sleepless. You see, this symptom is a characteristic of, for what other remedy? Is a very characteristic symptom of staphysagria. Very good. It's a characteristic of staphysagria. For another reason, staphysagria. I do not want to go there, but anyhow, it is sleepy during the day, the whole day is sleepy, and they go to bed and they cannot sleep. Magnesia Carbonica also have an aggravation time which is similar to Kali Carbonicum, between 3 and 4. Their pains, their colics, their discomforts, they come between 3 and 4 in the morning, and their sleeplessness also may come from 3 to 4 to 5. It starts from 3. And again, in Magnesia Carbonica, we have the same as I described in Magnesia muriatica, the great tiredness and unrefreshed after sleep in the morning. Very characteristic, very strong. Unrefreshed in the morning. They cannot move. They feel heavy, they feel tired, they feel indisposed to talk. They don't want to talk. They are slow in digestion, and usually constipated. And when the liver is very much affected, then we have again the whitish chalky stool, with yellowish whitish chalky stool, which shows an obstruction of the bile duct. Magnesia carbonica will be found indicated in children that do not thrive, do not really get well. You have sometimes children that the liver is affected, they are small, they are weak, they are very weak in keeping their head up. They are very weak in talking, very slow in walking, not thriving, not building up. When these children, it seems that the liver, and usually it is found in the laboratory, the liver is quite disturbed, and the children cannot thrive, cannot grow. Then Magnesia muriatica will be the number one remedy to think about such children. Carbonica. Also during dentition, when the children start with the teeth and then there is vomiting, sour smelling, and aversion to milk, or if they take milk, there is an immediate diarrhea. A characteristic is of Magnesia carbonica with a woman that during the period of menses they suffer a lot, and a lot of symptomatology comes during the menses period. A peculiarity is that menses will flow only in bed, while lying in bed in the night. They get up and they walk and the menses stopped. If you get that, there is a periodicity that comes every 3 weeks. Periodicity, every 3 weeks. And we have lumbago during pregnancy, that it is worse sitting or lying in bed. They have to get up and walk, and also they have to keep very warm the back. During the menstrual period, women can get colds. A whole cold can start every time the menses come. There is a time of very weak period for women, like the time of menses in Magnesia carbonica. Magnesia carbonica. From the desires, you can see desire for meat, which is quite strong, and also another keynote, aversion to vegetables. Aversion to vegetables is a keynote for Magnesia carbonica. Again, we see the dryness of the skin, the oldish looking, and also the idea that they're getting old, they're getting weak. It is interesting that some remedies produce a lot of energy and some remedies take away the energy. The magnesias are from these people that they are always tired, always making an effort to continue. There is no time where they will feel the energy is quite strong. You have to understand also that sensitive state where the nerves are affected and are very painful. While the body is not strong, but it's rather flabby. You see the flabbiness, a flabbiness which is unhealthy. You see, in calcarea carbonica there is flabbiness, but the flabbiness is quite healthy, and they're agile, and in spite of being flabby. In Magnesia Carbonica, you will see the flabbiness, the withering, the flabbiness, as if they have been obese a bit, and now the obesiness goes away and stays the flabbiness. The muscles are very flabby, and the nerves, it seems that become very sensitive. You have tremendous neuralgias. With Magnesia Carbonica, it is one of the main remedies for facial neuralgias, whether it's on the right or on the left, especially on the left, where Magnesia phosphorica is mostly on the right side. Magnesia phosphorica is one of the main remedies for pains, neuralgic pains, severe pains, which are ameliorated by warm applications. When you get a stomach pain that he will take something very warm and put it there. You see, I will give you an example of that warmth. He said, a man who was working on cutting stones, cutting what's called marble, he said that he had such a severe pain in the stomach that unless he took a brick and heated the brick, and then he will let the brick sit on his stomach with tremendous heat, almost burning him, and that will ameliorate the pain. That is the kind of amelioration we get for Magnesia phosphorica, which is the same amelioration we get from in Nux vomica. In Nux vomica, they need also warm applications in order to feel better, but not as warm as that. When you see that intensity, then it can be Magnesia phosphorica. Magnesia phosphorica cases are quite, we do not know quite a lot about them, but just a few hints. There are people which are quite nervous, quite sensitive. The phosphorus element together with the magnesia seems to give a great sensitivity. In the morning they do not have this magnesia, do not have the unrefreshing sleep because of the phosphorus element, most probably. You know, the phosphorus is refreshed very much in sleep. Because of the phosphorus element, Magnesia phosphorica is not so much unrefreshed as Magnesia muriatica and Magnesia carbonica. There are nervous people and people that they are quite on edge, I would say. On edge. Amelioration from warmth in every symptom, whether it is headache, facial neuralgia, colic pains, urinary pains, in a cystitis, etc. A cystitis, which is better warmth, the woman especially has to keep very warm the genitalia by hot bottles, applications, etc. This can be Magnesia phosphorica or Nux vomica. So what you have to remember in Magnesia Carbonica is the sickly appearance, the tiredness, the anxiety, and especially when the anxiety is together with some trembling, a feeling of trembling or inner trembling or even external trembling. When that anxiety especially is about something that is going to happen, an accident, for instance. There is a constant feeling that an accident is going to take place the whole day. And as soon as they go to bed, this anxiety goes away. We have Magnesia Carbonica when we see that sour idea. Whether it's in temperament, whether it is in the perspiration, whether it is in menses, whether it's in vomiting, whether it's in any kind of discharges are smelling sour. Which is again the same idea as what? Which other remedy? Of hypersulfur and rheum. R-H-E-U-M. rheum. When you have an aggravation or a sleeplessness after 3 to 4, between 3 and 4, or after 3, aggravation between 3 and 4, think, and when the liver is affected, when there is tiredness, there is aggravation from draft, don't think only of Kali Carbonicum, think of Magnesia Carbonica as well. Also, when you see this symptom of while eating warm food aggravates the headache, the pain, the facial neuralgia, the stomach pain, the anxiety, the perspiration comes when eating. I mean, that is a keynote of Magnesia Carbonica. And think of Magnesia Carbonica in children that do not thrive, do not grow, with the pallid skin, with yellowish type of skin, earthy skin. And of course, worse, milk, whether it causes pain, colic pains, or diarrhea.